Hello, I'm Samir Cario, developer advocate at Scalingo, and today we will see how to create a RAG using OpenSearch. But first, what is a RAG? So, you have an LLM, like ChatGPT, Mistral, Claude, etc., and you add your own data into it, as documents, audio, video, etc. And before how it works, you have your user, you do user query, what's the weather today. This is converted to a vector thanks to embedding. After you hit some of your document and open search. After that, you send all the documents you have and you hit into the LLM, so Claude, Mistral, etc. And the LLM gives you an answer. Before, you needed to have three things. One, Hugging Face in order to download your model. Two, Open Search or vector database. Three, a Python API to send to LLM, getting all the context, etc. Now, with OpenSearch ML, you only need the two things. Hugging Face to get the model and OpenSearch for the vector database. Now, let's go into Scalingo to see how to do it. Okay, so now we are on Scalingo. First, we need to create an application. We need to give it a name, so we call it RAG Samir. We will choose Secnium Cloud, which is a set of rules created by ANSI, which is a French public government agency, and it's a set of rules to have the most secure infrastructures. After I choose a default project, and I click on create my application. After that, I choose the Scalingo Git server and finish. Now we need to add an open source database into our application. So I will go into add-on, manage, add an add-on. I will select open source and I will select a business plan because we'll have high availability, multi-node clusters, we have daily backup, and also we have SLA of 99.96. So now we'll click on finish and I will validate it. So now we will need to wait for the open source database to be provisioned, and after we will install open source dashboard to easily interact with our database. Okay, so now our database is provisioned. So now we need to go into environment and add a new variable, which is a BigPipe URL. This URL will permit for Scalingo to know which application we want to install. So now let's add this environment variable. And we will also need to copy this Git repository URL because it will be where we will send our code. So you just need to click on it and it's copied into your clipboard. Now, let's go back into the IDE. Okay, so now the first thing to do on the IDE will be to clone the GitHub Scalingo open source dashboard repository. So with this command. After that, you go into this repository. Now we will add the remote. So remember the URL you copied before. So git remote add Scalingo and the address. Now we need to commit mp commit. I'll call it rag. And we will push it into Scalingo. So now we see that our deployment is beginning. We see that we are cloning our custom build pack. So remember the build pack URL. Also, we deploy open source dashboard, we install the prerequisite, we installing it, etc. Now, let's go back into Scalingo when the installation is done. Okay, so now we see that our application is deployed on Scalingo. So now we'll open my application. We see that we have our open source dashboard with a login page. The username and the password is the username and the password of your open source database that I will show you just after. But before doing anything on open source, I will first explain to you what we will do. And after I will show you with a few demo how to do it. So now let's go back into the explanation part. Okay, so now I will explain to you what we'll do on open source. First, you need to know that open source group the model by group. For example, you can have Mistral, ChatGPT on group A, and then group B you can have Claude. it's you that you decide. But in our case, we'll create a new group and we will register and deploy our MiniLM L6 V2 that you can find on Hugging Face. I will put a link into the description if you want to check. After that, we will create an index in order to store our document, an ingest pipeline in order to generate the embedding. We will add some data about Cyclium, and we will create a search pipeline in order to search into our index. Also, with OpenSearch, the first two steps, so the index and the ingest pipeline, can be easily automated. Now you will tell me, yeah, but how can I find the vector which is pretty near my user query? So now imagine you have a user which want to know what is the weather today. You convert it to a vector thanks to an embedding. Now, thanks to KNN, we will select the vector on the right, which is the most near vectors. So for example, we choose these two vectors, so 0.02, etc. And we will send it back to the LLM, and the LLM will give you an answer so that the weather today is sunny. Now, let's go implement this into OpenSearch. Okay, so now that we are back on Scalingo, let's see on environment our username and password. So now if you go into OpenSearch URL, you will have your username here and your password here. So now let's open our application. Let's get our username and let's get our password. I have my password. Click on login. Okay, so now we can go on DevTool and delete this one. And now we will first add new setting into our clusters. So it's permit to run the ML thing on not ML node. We have also access control enable and we remove the memory threshold. So now we run this one. Now we need, like I said, to create a model group. So we'll give it a name, which is OpenSearch group. On the right, you will have a model group ID that you need to save. Now we need to register our model. You can find the version and the name on OpenSearch website. On the model group ID, you need to take the new one. So now you click on created. You will also have an idea about the task in order to follow the advancement of the task. So we take it and we wait for him to be completed. Now, like I said, what we need to do is deploy this model. So now we add this thing, which is plugin ML model. We get our model ID and we deploy it using this endpoint. So the same thing as before, you will have a task ID. You can check the advancement of the task ID. And now let's wait for it to be finished. Okay, so now we have the thing completed. We have a model ID. Now we need to create our ingest pipeline. So to do this, we'll need to add this API request. Don't worry, all the requests I made will be put on an article and you will see it on OpenSearch article. So now I give it a name, which is ingest pipeline test, which is a description, a model ID, and a passage test. Now I create it, which is acknowledge true. Now you need to create our index. So we will add also test. Remember to change the default pipeline. We also need this model ID, but also check that the dimension is the good one compared to your model. So in our case, it's the good one. So now we'll add this, which is acknowledge true. And now we need to add some documents into it. And we will add 3 documents, 2 about Secnum Cloud and 1 about just Hello World. So now add this one, we can just add this one, which is about what is a data protection officer. And the last one is what is OIV. And now we can already create our search pipeline. So here, and don't forget to change the model ID. So we'll get the one we add here, go down, and we have here our model ID. So how it's work? So first we have our query, which get everything with the ID because of the stars. And after for each file, we check if we get like a good script score about what is OIV, and also if it's match. So now if I run it with K for KNN at 2, we'll have, sorry, I forgot to change the index, which is not this one, but test. If I relaunch it, we have two documents, which is the first one, which is OIV, and the second one, a data protection officer. The document we need, because we ask what is OIV, is this one. If I change 2 to 1, we will have only one document, which is the good one, and we'll also see the scores. Now we can also just say if everything is good. So hello and hello Samir, for example, and also hello Samir, and we will see what our RAG will return to us. And we see that our RAG return hello world. So now we have everything to create a RAG because we have something to create the embedding, we have our own index, and we have a search pipeline in order to get our answer. So now let's go back into Scalingo. So now that we saw everything you need to create your RAG on OpenSearch and Scalingo, thanks to this code, you will have 100 euros of free credit to test OpenSearch. So just sign up, put this code, and you will be able to test OpenSearch. Thanks you for watching this video. Now you can easily build, deploy, and scale your RAG on Scalingo. You can now subscribe, like this video, and watch our next video.